What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Zamboni. I am an herbalist and astrologer, and it is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to everybody who reached out last week. It seems like there is still demand for this weekly astrology forecast. It seems like people really are into it, and I just couldn't really tell from the Instagram insights. And as such, we're going to make a little change here. So if you really love the weeklies, then you can go to the link in my bio where you can get it email. You can sign up for the email newsletter and you can get it emailed directly to you. Now, I promise I'm not going to send you a bunch of spammy emails, mostly because I don't feel like writing a bunch of spammy emails. So I promise it's going to be super minimal. I'm just going to send you the video, the weekly forecast. It's going to be super minimal. I'm not going to it's not going to be a bunch of sales funnels or all this sort of stuff. I just want you to be able to get it if you're interested in it. And I need to stop running around trying to post it in all the places and trying to optimize and it's turned into too much work for me. And so if you want to get this, then sign up at the link in my bio and you can get it emailed directly to you. So thank you so much for being a part of the community and for doing that. With that said, let's talk about the astrology of the week ahead. Of course, thank you to everyone for sending me a tip via Venmo, Cashapp, PayPal. Super, super helpful and makes it all, possible and worthwhile and everything. So thank you for all that. Let's talk about the astrology of the week ahead. There's a lot going on, isn't there? So we just had a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, and it was a big deal. So Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is currently in Pisces, exalted in Pisces, conjunct Jupiter. This is in the single degree of Venus's exaltation. This is like a prime time new moon in Taurus. This is the best possible situation for a new moon in Taurus, except the nodes. We've got an eclipse here as well, right? So the nodes and eclipses always refer to a kind of instability. There's something unexpected that goes on. We can think about disappearance and reappearance. A lot of times a way that I like to think about conceiving of eclipses is like shutting the lights. You're like playing a board game and then you shut the lights off. And there's a little bit of a ruckus, and then when the lights come back on, everything has changed. The position of the board has changed. And so this is a little bit what we're looking at when it comes to this new moon. This looks like it's such a beautiful new moon that looks like it wants to lean into pleasure and harmony and all of the most delicious things that the world has to offer. But there's a little bit of this disruptive light switching off energy going on here as well. We can also pay attention to the fact that new moon solar eclipse is conjunct and immediately applying to a conjunction to Uranus in Taurus, right? And so whenever we think about Uranus, we can think about unexpected things. We can think about surprises. We can think about lightning bolt, kind of like everything changes in a moment. There's like a turn on the dime kind of situation that goes on here. The sun will go on to conjoin Uranus on the 4th this week. And so really we're, because that's two signifiers of unexpected or surprising things. The way that I've been thinking about this is like how we seem to be living in the moment, in the historical moment of the clown, right? And so clowns, their job is to make you laugh, right? Or to turn things on their head and to think about them in a funny way, but it's jokey, it's trickster, right? There's it feels like practical joking to me, practical joking is, it's hilarious and also potentially harmful to the people who get joked on, that sort of thing. So because there's all of this sort of upturning energy, right? The way that you really get a laugh is by sort of coming through with something unexpected, right? You've been telling a story and then bam, you get hit with this punchline and it comes out of nowhere and that gets the laugh, right? And so there's this surprising or unexpected component that is important to that mode, that method, right? And so then what we see here is an emphasis on joy and pleasure, laughter. Jupiter and Venus really love to laugh, right? And then there's also this unexpected element. And so because it's so deeply unexpected, we've got two strong signifiers of unexpected surprises. Because we've got both of those operating at the same time, it feels a little bit like a practical joke that got out of hand, right? It was meant to be hilarious And then it just turned into all of this, and like everything turned on its head and it got a little out of control. That's a little bit how it feels to me. So if you are a joker, or a trickster, or a comedian, or something like this, that as so many of our major players in this like historical moment, right? We can look at people like Vladimir Zelensky is a comedian, or we can look at Donald Trump or Joe Rogan, or we can look at, right, like some of the most important figures in the world right now are comedians. What's going on here, right? And there's also a lot of important backlash against comedy and the way that comedy operates and this sort of stuff. I'm not here to talk about that. I don't have a public opinion on that, but I can see that it's happening. That's happening in this moment, right? And so we need to pay attention to that. So maybe you are a jokester figure, and you are this one who's like going to be poking and prodding and trying to get like the laugh for, practical joker reasons or something like that. If that's going on, then maybe be aware that it can get out of hand under this kind of sky. And it's not just about this one eclipse that just happened yesterday and like the one and done, right? Eclipses are always going to take place across a 6-month timeline, because in 6 months time, we're going to have the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus that goes along with this also, right? Also in 2 weeks, we're going to have a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio, which is opposite to this one. So there's this sort of like bouncing back kind of situation, back and forth. And it's always a much bigger deal than just the 1 day transit. So this kind of energy of like the practical joke that goes a little too far, or that turns into a lot, or, like just interrogating jokes and that sort of stuff, like feels really resonant and important to me in this wider historical moment that is not limited to just this one past weekend. The other thing that I think is maybe interesting here is, so that the ruler of that moon is Venus in Pisces, right? But Venus is no longer in Pisces as of May 2nd, right? So that's on Tuesday. Venus is going to move into Aries. So we're going to start seeing with Venus in Aries, then it feels a little bit like Venus in Pisces is so laid back and chill and just like, bring it to me. I just love the way that it feels, and it's so attractive and harmonious, right? Venus in Aries is a little more like, go get them, right? Aries is a Mars sign. If we're looking at Aries or Mars and Venus as sort of like polar opposites, then we've got Mars who wants to pursue, and Venus prefers to attract, right? They're both about desire, but there's the Mars way is like, go get it yourself, and then Venus is like, I'll wait for it to come to me. Venus in Aries, in the Mars sign, is going to want to move toward the thing. It's going to want to pursue. It's going to want to like go out and do the thing. It's also going to find hilarity, for example, or pleasure or joy, or any of these Venus things, harmony with cooperation and stuff like that, around Mars topics, around Aries style topics, right? So we can think about warfare, or so warfare is kind of a lot and maybe a weird thing to get pleasure from, although I promise you people do get pleasure from that. But we can also think about like sort of combat. We can think about martial arts or this kind of thing, like a particularly beautiful kick or something like that. We can think about Venus in Aries as being interested in that kind of thing. Venus finds pleasure in the Martian stuff. And so so this sort of brings us back to this like poking and prodding and like trying to find hilarity in a practical joke, or in some kind of like, there's like a smash bang kind of moment that can elicit a laugh, right? And so there's something about getting close to that and sort of engaging with that and seeing what's going on to really, just lean into. There is definitely hilarity to be had here. We can like there's fun to be had, but we're probably not going to find it in the place where fun usually resides, right? Because this whole month, honestly, is going to be this shift from Pisces into Aries, right? We've got Venus in Pisces moving into Aries, and then a little bit later, Jupiter is going to move from Pisces into Aries, and then a little bit later, Mars is going to move from Pisces into Aries. That's the story of May. And so we've got this shift moving into Aries, and so like Pisces is kind of where the easygoing fun stuff kind of lives at, right? And then Aries is where some of the harder or faster or louder things are, right? We see more explosive characters showing up in Aries, right? So moving into that space, how are we going to move into that? Honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to it a little bit. Like this will, I like Jupiter in Pisces, I think, but it's been so Neptune that it's been like a little bit in the feelings. There's been a lot of feelings around stuff, and just like and getting kind of lost in that. That's one of the things that I'm like a little bit thinking about, as far as like we're about to have a Scorpio moon as well, right? And we've got that Mars in Pisces in a lot of feelings, and Scorpio is known for a lot of feelings, right? And so even though that's not for a couple of weeks, and I'll talk about that again in a couple of weeks, it's this eclipse that we just came from yesterday is a part of a series. And so there's no really just taking one without the other. And so we're going to need to pay attention to the rulers of those eclipses and stuff like this. So, so as we've got Venus moving into Aries, and so we're going to feel more Aries things moving in that way. It's going to be a little bit pushy perhaps, or these kinds of things. And then, yeah, there's just like, there's a lot to pay attention to, and there's a surprising component to it, and I wonder if we can find it funny. I wonder if there's humor to be had in here somewhere, right? And this might be something for me to think about as well, for me to lean into. I've been like doing too much with with working and trying to like get all the videos and trying to get the captions together and all this sort of stuff, right? Like maybe that can be fun. Maybe the grind can be fun, or something like this, right? Like the sense of action, of doing, of something that maybe even could be a little bit uncomfortable. The way that I talk about Mars, who rules Aries, Mars is maybe like the tack in your chair, that makes you like get up. It's super motivating by being uncomfortable. That discomfort gets you up out of the chair. So like, I wonder if I can find a way to enjoy the discomfort of it, or something like this, right? Venus in Aries is really good for that. Also, Jupiter is going to be moving in there in a week's time or so, I think on the 10th. And so we're going to be moving toward that, toward finding pleasure in the Aries space, whatever that looks like for you. So this is a fairly major transition. Jupiter is going to be in Aries for a year, and not the whole year. Jupiter's going to have to retrograde out and whatever. But like Jupiter spends about a year in each sign. And so this one is going to be one of those situations where we're going to see a major shift from Jupiter in Pisces to Jupiter in Aries. And that feels different. That's going to color the entire epochal moment. It's going to color that whole thing differently. It's going to color it like Aries rather than coloring it like Pisces. And, I'm kind of ready for it. Jupiter in Pisces seemed like a lot of fun. And there were some really good elections, but man, my experience of it has not been that fun. My experience has not been that good. And so, I'll be really ready myself for this Venus ingress into Aries. Let's try something different. Let's just like get it moving. Get something else going. So that's all we got this week. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all as always. I really, really appreciate everybody who like spends time with the long form content rather than just the 60 seconds and whatever. I really appreciate y'all. That's really helpful to me, and it's helpful to me that y'all just listen to me. It's helpful when people send tips via Venmo, Cashapp, PayPal. By the way, I found a place, so I'm not gonna have to be homeless. Thank y'all for all of your tips and contributions and everything. You paid the security deposit. I super appreciate it. I needed that rather than living in the car. I super appreciate. That's my time here. Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate you, and I will see you next week. on the newsletter. Don't forget to check out the link in my bio to get that email directly to you. Check out later.